power user with Crash Long Johns. That's me. Today's video, we're going to be doing a CAT2 topic. We're going to be covering a mixture of Power Apps, Automate, Adaptive Card, and Teams, and how to handle those special keyboard character failures that's going to occur in the Automate because we're using an Adaptive Card and the JSON. So with the use case, what we're looking at is you have a Power App that's being filled in. It's got plain text options. It could be a description, could be a title of the request that your user is inputting into the request. And with that, they might use a special character that's on the keyboard. Well, the Automate's going to run. It's supposed to be sending a notification based on a new request, could be based on status, and then that JSON's being filled through, and then it's failing through the Automate. So in this video, we're going to review how to handle those keyboard special character failures. So with that said, let's get started and jump over to the computer. Now that we're at the computer, you'll see that I've already got open here a Power App. Now for my novice viewers, I will get back to our novice Power App series. This has been kind of weighing on me, and I've also wanted to share it with others out there. So things I'll be showing, I will be showing you through some of the novice Power App series. Also, there will be other pieces that I'll be going back to, more of a CAT2 for Power Automate, and also doing a novice on series on the adaptive card pieces. So right now, I just want to show you kind of like what we're going to do and what this is trying to solve. So right now, we're doing a Power App, and we're going to do a new request. And somebody's going to type in a title. I'm just going to hit test for now. And a description, I'm just going to do test. So that way we can show this off and then submit. And now that's been submitted. Now we're going to go to our SharePoint list. And on our SharePoint list, you see that, all right, there's the test, and it's been captured because when I hit submit, it wrote to the form. Then we have a Power Automate that's going to run and then send what's called an adaptive card. And if we go to Teams and go to adaptive cards, we'll see that it will show up here. And there it is. So there's our adaptive card. It says new request submitted. Title is test, description test. So ultimately that is what we're after. We're after somebody submits a Power App request form. It gets added into SharePoint, and then adaptive card is notifying either the admin side, those that are going to process the request, that hey, a new request has been submitted, and so that way they can then take care of the request. Now what we run into is that there are 32 special characters on the keyboard, and a couple of them create some issues for the adaptive card to be sent via Power Automate. So let's go ahead and dive into seeing what is those special characters that are causing the issue and how to take care of them through step-by-steps. So I cleaned up the screen a little bit here, and we're going to go ahead and, again, dealing with our Power App here, with new request, it's basically a form control, and on submit, it's submitting the information to the SharePoint list. So we're not going to go too much details into that. So it's just a form control. And then we got our SharePoint list where the information is being captured to with the title description. Now, the piece that we need to take care of is also making sure that we have an adaptive card that we're going to utilize in our Power Automate. So we're going to go to Designer Adaptive Cards, which is the adaptivecards.io/designer. Now, I'm not going to go into too much details on how to do stuff, but I am going to do a quick build. And again, for my novice viewers, we're going to come back to this. So we'll do a series on this too. So we're going to go ahead and do new card. I'm going to do a blank card and a real quick build. I'm going to put in a text box. I'm going to drag and drop that. I'm going to just say new request. And then we'll also just make that the weight just bolder. We're going to drop in a fact set. And we're going to say new request, or actually not new request. We'll just say title. And then description. And then I'm going to drop in one more text box. And I'm going to put an X. So what these X's are doing is I'm going to place the information from the SharePoint list into those particular spaces with the X's. So right now we're also going to double check. We're going to switch our select host app. We're going to select that to Microsoft Teams Lite. And the other thing is right now we're going to switch this version from 1.4 to actually 1.3. And just recently did test this out, and it looks like 1.3 is now working with Automate in Teams. So we're good there. Previously, it has been 1.2. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to have this ready to go. So we're going to go down here and we're going to copy this JSON, this card payload editor, which is the JSON. We're going to go ahead and copy that because we're going to need that here in a bit. So now let's jump to our Power Automate. So our Automate, what we're going to do is we're going to create just an automated cloud flow. Just going to give it a name, and we're just going to say Deputy Card Special Characters Cards. There we go, and we're going to do when an item is created, and we're going to go ahead and create that. So we're going to pick our site address. In this case, it's going to be our Novice Power App series. Then we're going to pick our list, which is going to be the Novice Power Apps data. And we're going to do a next step, new step. And this time we're going to type in adaptive card. And we're going to do a post adaptive card in a chat or channel. We're going to post it in a channel. We're going to pick our Power Apps series. We're going to pick our channel adaptive cards. And the adaptive card, this is where we're going to insert that JSON, so we're going to paste that in. Now we're going to go down here and look for our X's. So we're going to, first off, let's see if we can get our little card a little higher. There we go. Let's go ahead and click on the X. We're going to take out the X and we're going to look for a title. We're going to put in title. Down here for description, we're going to take that X and we're going to put in description. And there we go. That's just taking our when an item is created, our information from the SharePoint list into our adaptive card JSON. All right, so we have that, and we're going to go ahead and hit save. That's been saved now. All right. Okay, so we're going to go back to our Power Apps, and we're going to go ahead and hit new request. Which first, let's make sure we're going to go ahead and hit edit, and let's go ahead and hit test. We're going to say manual. We're going to hit test. All right, it's waiting. We're going to go back over here to Power App, hit new request, hit testing. Once again, and hit submit. I'm going to refresh our SharePoint list. There it is. Go to our Power Automate, and it ran. If I go to Teams, we'll see there it is. Okay, well, we have that. Now you're wondering, what exactly is going on? Don't see anything failing. Let's run this again. So we got our Power Automate. We're going to go ahead and hit edit. We're going to test. And we're going to do test. Make sure there it is. Here we go, new request. Now I'm going to hit So let's say I have testing a special character backslash. And we're going to go ahead and hit submit. Going to go to our SharePoint list. There's our entry. Going to go to our Power Automate. And lo and behold, we got a fail. There's the Microsoft Azure process, simple data entity, specified team slowbot adapter card requested missing or invalid, tracking ID 0, Newtonsoft.json. So it's just mad. So it's like, hey, you got something invalid. There's invalid character. If we go down here, we can look at it. Hey, okay, what's going on? We go in here, invalid code, message. You kind of read all through the different messages and lines. Let's go back here to our Power App. I'm going to pull up real quick. So here is the listing of all 32 keyboard characters available on the keyboard. So I did kind of the hard work for everyone, and I went through, hey, which particular of these characters is causing issue? Well, out of all the 32 characters, it comes down to 2 special characters that give the issue. One is the backslash, and the other, in this instance, is double quotes. So let's go ahead and go back to our Automate, and let's go ahead and hit Edit. Now, how are we going to take care of that? There's a couple of different ways, and I'm just going to show the quick one, and quick and easy one. And we're just going to hit Add an Action, and we're going to go ahead and hit Compose. And with Compose, we're going to do an expression. And what I like to do here is I'm also going to just rename this real quick. We're going to leave the Compose. Well, let's go ahead and type in here, replace special car fails. All right, so we're going to go into our expression, and we're going to do replace, and then tab, and then there's our open and close parentheses, and then inside those, we're going to do replace again, because we're going to take care of both of the special characters all at one time. So with the replace. Now with the replace inside our little here, get rid of, and we're going to go to our dynamic content. In this case, I'm only going to take care of the actual title. So it puts all of that in, and then after our title, with our closed bracket there, we're actually going to do a comma, and then we're going to do a single quote, and inside the single quotes we're going to do the backslash, and then we're going to have that closed, and then we're going to do a comma again. Now we're going to do a single quote. Inside the single quote we're going to do double quote, and then after the single quote we're going to do comma, and we're going to do single quote and single quote and single quote. So I'll give 4 single quotes. What this is doing is it's saying, basically I'm going to replace anything that is in the title that is a backslash or that is a double quote. I'm going to change the backslash to a dash and the double quotes to a single quote. We're going to go ahead and copy this. I'll show you why. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. So there's my expression. We're going to go up here and we're going to also add a note. And I like doing this because it helps, because just in case Automate decides to get wonky and mess up the actual expression, I know exactly what expression I wrote, so that way it's there for me if I have to go back in here and fix something if Automate decides to have a heyday. So all right, we have that. So now when we go into the adapted card, we're going to go down here, and where it says title, I'm going to go ahead and put my cursor just right after the title. and we're going to put in our output, and we're going to get rid of title. So there we go. We're going to go ahead and save this. We're going to go ahead and do a test and manual. We're going to go back to our Power App. We're going to do new request. This time we're going to say \, end, testing, and hit submit. So that's been submitted. We go to our SharePoint list, and there is our / and double quote entry. We're going to go to our Power App, or Power Automate, excuse me. And it failed. And let's see why it failed, because I missed a spot. So I needed to actually have another comment here, because I forgot to actually put in our dash. There we go. So let's go ahead and update that. And we'll go ahead and test this. And let's just do automatically, because we'll just do the recent failed one and hit save and test. There we go. It happens. Sometimes you just miss that little bit of detail. So I just forgot that after my / to also include that I'm replacing it with the dash. So now if we go to the automate, or not the automate, but to the adaptive card, now we'll actually see that there's our adaptive card. It came through, automate ran, and now we got our / instead of a / it's the dash, and instead of single quotes, instead of double quotes, it's single quotes. So there you have it. We're able to then have our automate do it. And again, this is composed. Now, as far as in the SharePoint list, it's not changing what was originally put in. Now, if you want to change also what was originally put in, then in the automate, what you would do is just add in, instead of just the compose, what you would do is you could just do add an action and do update item. And pick the list. And the ID, you're going to do the ID when the item is created. And then for the title, what you'll do is you would then put in your replace in the title section. And then for the adaptive card, instead of an output, you would actually have it where you would do update item and you would pick title. That way, then it would also be updated in the SharePoint list, because it's going to update the item, it's going to get the replaced information and write over what was put in. So now let's go ahead and transition to one other find I had, and this is dealing with, same for kind of not dealing with an adaptive card, but dealing with an HTTP SharePoint request. So let's go ahead and get transitioned for that. Okay, so we transitioned over to dealing with an HTTP call to like SharePoint to do some updates. So let's show that example here, and then we'll dive into how to take care of the Power Automate and what takes place there. So we're going to go ahead and do a new request. And again, we're going to put in testing and description testing. And we're going to go ahead and hit submit. So that's been submitted. And now if we go to SharePoint, we're going to go ahead and refresh this. And we'll see that we got our testing and testing. And we're just going to give this a little bit, because we're going to be waiting for an automate. So wait for that to be updated. Okay, so that's been updated, and now you'll see in the name field we got testing. That particular testing, in this case, if I click on it, it would open up a Power App. So let's see what we got going on. Again, so we got our Power App, We're going to submit that, and it's actually going to then create a new item into the actual SharePoint. And then we got an automate that's writing back to the list and updating something. So let's go ahead and jump into Power Automate to take care of that. So what we're looking at here is we got when an item's created. So I did a little step here. So we got when an item's created, and we got our tied to our list. And we're going to go do a new step. And we're going to do a send an HTTP request to SharePoint. We're going to pick our site address. We're going to change our method to post. We're going to get our URI, which I'm just going to save us some time here. Okay, so I filled in all the rest just to save some time there. And as you see, we got everything filled in. Now, if I leave this the way it is, we got our description and we're tying in the title. Now, as far as tying in the title, and if we look at our special characters again, we got those 32. And so if we look at those 32, so let's double check on those. So here's our 32. Now what's different about the HTTP that I found, again, I went through each of these, and now in this case, it is still the backslash creates issue, but instead of double quotes, in this case, single quotes cause an issue. So we're going to go back to our automate. And if we look at our automate here, what we're going to do is we're going to go up here and we're going to add an action. We're going to do, again, compose. And in the input, we're going to write in as an expression, and it's replace or replace. And inside that replace, we're going to go back to our dynamic content, and we're going to go ahead and grab our title. And then at the end of a title bracket, we're going to do our comma, and we're going to do our single quotes. Inside the single quotes, backslash. Then after the single quote, we're going to do comma, and we're going to do another single quote, and we're going to do our dash. And then after our close bracket, we're going to do a comma. In this case, we're going to do our single quote, and this time we're going to single quote, gives us 4. And then we're going to do comma, and we're going to do single quote, and inside the single quote, we're going to do double quotes. And that's it. That's a lot of single quotes. And again, for best practice, we're going to go ahead and copy that. We're going to go ahead and hit OK. We're going to do our add a note, paste that in there. We're going to rename this, compose. We're going to do special car replace. And now we're going to go down into our HTTP and we're going to replace our title. And we're going to do with our output. And we're going to go ahead and save that. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to our adaptive card Power App example. And we're going to go ahead and go back to our automate real quick. Let's go ahead and test this. We're going to say, we're not going to do automatic, we're going to do manual here. We're going to hit test. And we're going to go to Power Apps, hit new request. And this time, let's go testing backslash. In this case, single quotes. And go ahead and submit that. We'll go to our actual SharePoint list, refresh that. You'll see there's a testing backslash, single quotes. We'll go to our automate. And it failed. Let's try that again. Think maybe it's because it spaced it out and I didn't need it to space out. So let's go ahead and test with our failure. There we go. Again, just the little things, as you can see, just those little tiny things can make a difference. So we took care of that and it went ahead and passed. So let's go back to the actual SharePoint list. And there we go. So if we actually look at this, you'll see that the testing backslash, instead of backslash, it was turned to a dash. And instead of single quotes, it was turned to double quotes. So there you have it. Those two different things can go on. So the HTTP one, it's dealing with, you got to watch out for those single quotes and backslash. For the adaptive cards, got to watch out for the backslash and double quotes. And if I go ahead and hit new request here, again, that could be for a title. That again, your user, the submitter can put in the title. They might put a double quotes in there. They might put a backslash, even a description. So you can also make sure all those areas that are being pulled into either HTTP or also into the adaptive card, that's being composed or updated. So let's go ahead and look at what our key takeaways are. Again, automated adaptive cards will fail if double quotes or backslash is present in text. And that's single line of text, multi-line of text. The HTTP SharePoint call request will fail if single quotes or backslash is present in the text. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Thank you for stopping by. Until next time, keep learning.